All right, first up, playing Marlin, returning as Marlin, Mr. Albert Brooks. Voicing Nemo, Hayden Rolence. Playing Charlie, Eugene Levy. As Destiny, Kaitlin Olson. And Destiny's pal Bailey, played by Ty Burrell.
There's no suspense to the introductions. You can just see them right there.
This man only has 2 arms, not 7. In the movie he does. Hank, Ed O'Neill. And last but certainly not least, I think I'm forgetting her name for some. I'm sorry. Playing Dory, Ellen DeGeneres. The cast of Finding Dory, ladies and gentlemen.
Ed, big fan. I want to ask you, Ed, why do you think Hank doesn't like living in the ocean? Because I've been to Cleveland and it's just okay.
Did he say you live in Cleveland? What did he say?
He's been to Cleveland, yeah.
Oh, you've been to Cleveland. Well, there's a nice Lake Erie there, right? I don't know why he doesn't. Well, he had a bad experience in the ocean. Or was it open ocean?
In the ocean.
In the ocean, he had a bad experience. We're guessing that he had something bit off one of his tentacles in the ocean. That's all I can do for you.
But I wanted to know how you tapped into your inner fish.
I lost 75 pounds for this role.
I gained about 41,000 pounds.
Yeah, it's funny. I actually kind of overthought preparing for this a little bit. Like I came in with a voice because he's sort of the character looked sort of congested to me, and so I kind of came over like a whale with a cold. And Andrew very, very, very politely was like, "That's great. Now let's do the whole film in your voice."
I kept Hayden in a small tank for 6 months.
But Hayden, let's ask you too. I mean, you're taking over Nemo. This is a classic character. You know, were you a Finding Nemo fan? Did you watch Finding Nemo and then audition for this? How did you land this role?
I was a big Finding Nemo fan even before Finding Dory came out, and even before I knew that I was going to be in Finding Dory. So I just really loved the role of Nemo, and I never thought that I would be able to actually play him. But I was sort of a little bit nervous at first because he's already a character, and I was taking over this character that everybody loves, and I wanted to do Nemo justice.
And you did. And it shows when you love a character that much, it just comes out. How do you kind of pick up this role all these years later? And then this is also for Ellen too. Is that difficult to do, to kind of just find these characters again?
You create a character, and as long as your voice is the same and your health is the same, you're back into it. It happens so quickly, it's sort of scary. It's like in 30 seconds, no time has passed.
I was at D23 where you showed a clip of you, like an unofficial campaign to do a sequel. Like, why does every other Pixar film get a sequel? And then when we talked with Andrew, he said, it came as a surprise. Even the name of the movie of Finding Dory was a surprise for Ellen. Why was that?
Exactly. Why was that? That's a good question. It just seemed like it was obvious. I mean, the film was an iconic film. It won an Academy Award. It was great. I was a small part of it. I wasn't campaigning to have a sequel for Dory. I was just campaigning for a sequel to a great movie. And then when it didn't happen for the first, 5 or 6 years, I decided to just make a joke of it. It just seemed like it was never going to happen, so I would just continue to joke about it. And then the joke became a reality, and then it became about Dory's journey.
I wonder which qualities did you give to Dory, and which ones would you like to have from her?
Which traits?
That she has and you would like to have?
I would love to have every trait of Dory's. I try to have as many traits as she has, as far as optimism and perseverance and non-judgment and not having any resentment or holding on to anger or she doesn't feel like a victim. She's really, I think that's why she's such a lovable character that Andrew created, because she really is, she just thinks everything is possible. And she never for a second thinks that anything's wrong with anybody else or herself, or she just keeps swimming. And I think that's a great thing so I'd like to have all of those traits.
Ellen, Andrew described Dory as a tragic figure in the first movie, that he felt bad that he hadn't noticed how unresolved and awful it was that he left that character hanging for so long. I wonder, what was your thoughts at the time when you were Dory in the first movie? And did you feel that there was a lot more of her story? And did you wonder, you know, what had happened to her?
No, I really didn't. And had I thought about it and done actually what Andrew did, is think about where did she come from, who is her family, I would have called him sooner and said, here's the sequel, here's the idea. I wouldn't have had to wait so long. No, I think that when you really think about it, I actually don't think it is tragic. I think that you can look at it that way, but as you see in the film now, what appears to be a disability is, you know, her strength, and it turns into what would Dory do. So maybe what appears to be a disability is actually something that everybody else can look at in another way and say, actually, that's a different way of thinking, and it's a good way of thinking. So I love that message in it, that something that seems to be a handicap is something you can use as a strength.
What did you put into that, and how did you come up with that slogan, and how to make Dory universal?
Well, the Just Keep Swimming came from Andrew, who wrote it, and that was him. As far as I think it's so much more than a cartoon movie, and I think we're all so proud of this. I mean, it's much more complex and layered than any of us thought it would be. It's much more complex and layered than Nemo, and Nemo was a great movie, but there's so many layers to this, and it is a very personal story for Dory, and it's a very it is emotional. So it was very easy for me to cry. It was, you know, it was like I couldn't read the lines and pretend to sniffle and pretend to get emotional. It was emotional. It was really sad, everything that Dory was going through and feeling. And so these are all human feelings. They're all the same feelings we all have. And it does show the power of these animators, how they make it so beautiful and so realistic, and the characters they create are so complex that you do get emotionally and you do cry at a fish, and we all cried. Like it really is a beautiful story. So it was fun and challenging to get that emotion with just a voice and no other physical. You know, you can't give you a body language or anything attached to that. But I don't know. I think it's the credit to the writing as well.
Kaitlin and Ty, do you guys know a lot more about whales now? Do you do a lot of research when you're playing these characters? Like, are you dropping whale fun facts at parties now?
Oh, all the time. I can't.
We
call each other.
You always used to do that.
Yeah, I've always been a whale talker. No, I mean, I did a fair amount of research. You know, I love that the whale shark is the largest fish and that they have no teeth, and so you can swim with them, and that's pretty cool. But that was about the extent of what I did. It just gave me a license to be like, oh, she's a nice whale. You know what I mean? What was your beluga experience?
Well, that kind of what I was saying before. I think I sort of overthought it and then realized that I should just work on the actual text.
Feelings and text.
Yeah.
This is one for Ellen. You've helped shape Dory's personality from the very beginning in Finding Nemo. Did you have a particular connection with Dory's desire for belonging and finding a family? Actually, this goes out to all the cast if you felt you had a connection.
Well, I think everybody is searching for their home, whatever that is. I think home is different for everybody, but you know, I understand what a sense of belonging is. I understand when you want to say, why am I who I am? Where did I come from? And you know, how did I end up where I am? So, yeah, I can relate to that. I think everybody can.
Marlin and Dory have two very different approaches to problem solving. One is very analytical, one is kind of taking what you got and going with it. So for each of you and for anybody else who might want to answer, how do you deal with problems? Do you analyze them and come up with a solution, or do you just kind of go with looking around and figuring out what's going to happen?
Okay, I'll give you a real answer. Because thank God my memory is great. But as you get older, you do forget little things, and I have come up now with a new philosophy of life, and that if something is bothering me, I ask myself to check back in 30 minutes. And if it's still bothering me, I deal with it. But a lot of it I don't remember.
And my answer is both. I do both. I mean, it just depends on the situation. I do, being a comedian, I think that I analyze, I look around, I kind of observe and analyze all kinds of things. I try to not do anything irresponsible, but I also do like to be spontaneous and just sometimes take chances.
If I could just come to Mr. Eugene Levy for a minute, sir. Yes, he is here. If I could say, you play such a great movie dad. You're always comfortable and relatable. Like every time you're a dad in a movie, I want to come move in at your house. What is your secret?
It's called acting. I don't know. You're dealing with. I think the greatest storylines, as evident in this movie, is the greatest storylines really have to do with family, and because that's the one thing that is the most important thing in all our lives, or should be anyway. So anytime you're dealing in a familial kind of situation, a dad and a child, or those are the stories that kind of resonate with me, because they're about something absolutely tangible and real. And those are the storylines that you can kind of really have fun with and really get behind and totally kind of pour yourself into.
It's very much about going with the flow and just keep swimming. I'm wondering for each of you, are you more of a go with the flow type person, or are you more of a planner, if you'd like to just go down the line?
I've never had a flow, so I don't know. I'm not a go with the flow person. I would be a planner.
Yeah, I guess I'm sort of a planner too.
Thank you.
I like to think of myself as a go with the flow person, but I'm not. So I think I would put myself in the planner category.
I'm definitely a planner, and since I had kids, I turned into an anxiety-ridden control freak planner. So the past 2 years of my life have been very much me consciously trying very hard to go with the flow and let it happen, and I got this. I got all these mantras I'll share with you guys. Yeah, I'm trying very hard to be more of a go with the flow person.
I don't think I'm a planner or a go-with-the-flow person, which makes me a worried person without a plan.
Yeah. That's bad.
That is not what you want. That is not what you want.
It scares me. Give me anxiety.
Yeah.
I don't plan. I don't really go with the flow either. I'm mostly confused. I just sort of put one foot in front of the other, which is sort of like keep swimming, yes. Right? I just sort of, I'm up in the morning and, here I am. And then I move around.
Very good. Very deep answer.
I have that coffee mug, actually.
Yeah, and then what happened? What happened to round 3?
I'm glad you didn't go moment by moment of your day.
I stopped.
Yeah, I know.
I knew where that was going.
I knew where that was going too. I'm pretty much a planner. Yeah.
By the way, I think there may not be such a thing as a flow. I think if you don't plan, you're flowed right out the door.
Grazie, Italy, for Ellen. What did you learn about the mysterious universe of the fish, studying your role, watching the fish in the aquarium?
I didn't really stare at any fish in the aquarium for long. I mean, I've seen them. I've learned they need to be in water all the time. That's important. The honest answer is I didn't really do any research, but the real honest answer is I really care about, and I always have cared about, nature and our planet and the environment, and I think it's important to protect our oceans and our fishes in the oceans and the coral reefs and everything, because it's a beautiful world that we know very little about, and I think there's probably all kinds of answers and all kinds of cures and all kinds of things that we can learn. So I think it's really important to protect our oceans.
Young Dory, the voice, was that a separate person, or did they alter your voice?
They went back in time when I was a child.
And they captured that.
Somehow I said all those words. They found the tape when I was at Christmas.
That's why we have a sequel. They set that chain in motion.
Yeah, my mother sent tapes of me as a young child sounding like Dory. No, that was a precious little girl that was behind me in the movie theater that felt a special connection with me because it was so adorable that I was like, you're me. She's precious.
And I just wanted to know, when you watch the final film, having worked together and how the two characters come together, where would you place that relationship on a scale from like friends in a playground to old married couple?
I just missed the last part. Where would you what?
Where would you want to get married to me?
Oh, right here.
Me too.
Right here.
I think it was sort of a brother-sister relationship. From married couple to friends in the playground. I got like a brother-sister vibe. Like they really are very close, but they annoy the hell out of each other. Or the heck out of each other.
I think so too. I feel like there's sort of a theme in the movie that also includes Dory that, she can't see and Bailey, his radar is all messed up and Dory can't remember, but somehow friendship can make you complete. I feel like their relationship in the Institute was sort of about that, was them sort of trying to take care of each other.
If you don't have a family, you can create your own family kind of thing.
And that we can all get along, no matter that we're all different species and look different and have different traits, that we should all get along.
Earlier, Andrew said that Hank is to this film what Dory was to Finding Nemo. Now, does that mean that we will see a subsequent movie now with Hank? And if so, will you be championing the cause on Ellen's show?
We were just talking about
I
this.
said that on our way out. I said, I bet there's going to be a sequel. We have to find out.
Be a little baby Hank.
A baby Hank, flashback, little angry, grumpy baby.
Where he lost his tentacle.
So yes, if Andrew's paying attention, that yes, there will be a campaign for that.
Dory looks much like you. Were your features taken, from the directors to make her look like you?
Yeah, I know someone said that it does look like me. I don't see it personally, but they record as I'm talking. They're filming me the entire time to get my facial expressions and what I'm doing. So that's how they come up with the look of the fish. But I don't see it, but okay.
Kind of for everyone. Everyone's characters are so amazing, and then there's also these amazing themes in the movie, whether it be friendship or getting over your disabilities or working with friends to get over them. For all of you, what was either the favorite thing that you loved about your character or your favorite theme in the movie? And when's the What Would Dory t-shirts coming out?
What's that?
When's the What Would Dory Do t-shirts coming out?
As soon as I start making them right when we leave. What would you say, Kaitlin?
I would say, and this is kind of a personal thing because I have two little boys, and like all kids, they get really frustrated when they don't do something perfectly. And we've been talking a lot at home about there's no such thing as perfect, and it's not what you should be striving for. And doing your best is really important, and enjoying the process and having fun. And that's a big thing going on in our house. And I loved this movie, and I loved having them be able to watch it so I can not make it about them and point to the fact that there is no perfect, nobody's perfect, and you don't have to be. That's not the point of life. The point is to, do your best and move forward and work with your friends and believe in yourself. So that was a big one for me.
So, especially to the parents in the panel, and Ellen, I know you have kids, so maybe you can answer it too. What is it about the stories today, especially something like Finding Dory, that's it's rich in character and complex that you think kids are relating to? I mean, the stuff we grew up with was great, but the characters were like one layer. So what do you think it is that kids are connecting to, and how needed is it today?
I feel like one aspect is, and I think Disney's done this forever, is that, I should say Disney and Pixar, is that they're willing to go into, they go deep, no pun intended, but they're addressing stuff that I think kids have some awareness on some level, including loss. And my kids really want to talk about that stuff. Mm-hmm. They want to talk about it. They don't really want to avoid those subjects, even because it comes up. There's just no way to avoid it. And I think the way that Pixar does it, where the characters, nobody does story better than Pixar, obviously, but the characters are all well-intended. Every character, whether they may be screwing up, they're all essentially trying to do their best, which is, feels like, to me, like that's, mimicking life. That's a world that feels safe to them to kind of approach those topics. That's been my experience at home, not just with Finding Dory, but with a lot of Pixar films in particular, and old Disney films. That we get into real conversations afterwards, even at 4 and 6 years old.
This movie is about dealing with time, regrets, doing what we couldn't do in the past. So if you had the chance to go walking down the street and you found yourself being a little girl, 6-year-old girl, what would you tell her about your life? Not letting her know that you is herself a few years later. You know what I mean? It's like finding yourself, okay.
So scary.
Okay.
No.
No, it's not scary. It's
No, don't listen to him. No, I understand what you're saying. I think, as Albert was saying, as you get older, you get wiser, and you start looking at life in a completely different way. And I wish that, and you can tell a 6-year-old whatever, but a 6-year-old is going to go, so you can try. But I would tell that 6-year-old that life is a very interesting journey, and that it is filled with surprises, and sometimes they're good surprises, and sometimes they're bad surprises. And they're all good, because even the bad ones get you ready for something else, and they build another part of you that you wouldn't have inside of you. And I think we're made up of all kinds of different things, and if we were just made up of joy and love and all good things and nothing bad happened to us, we'd just be a little less layered. So I would tell that 6-year-old to just take everything in and just embrace the bad with the good and just keep swimming.